everyone for joining. We will go to our normal class for Wednesday. We can all stay online for the session. It will start in a minute.
Yani Madad, I'm right here. Wonderful practicing of Dua-e-Noor, mashallah. Naveen Sahaba is working very hard. Arabic is a very challenging language, especially for people who only speak English. So I can tell the difference. Those who know Urdu or a little bit of Arabic, they are able to say words differently than those who only speak English. For example, Ain. So when she had only AY, friends read A, AY. But there is a sound of N. It's like half N in the throat. Ayamini. I'm not saying N, Ain, but there is N. So it's very tricky in Arabic. That's why you have to listen to the way she's saying. And my suggestion would be write it down in your own way, the way you hear it. So, Fauki, she's writing W-A-Q-I. So, Fauki. And ki is not K. So, it's coming from throat. Fauki. So, it's very tricky. And if you were to notice when I recite Kalam, you will see Urdu part has diacritical marks on it. And the reason I have diacritical marks, if I don't have it, I may not pronounce it right. It's a journey, we are learning, and you guys are doing wonderful, marvelous job. It's just that you do need to write it down and listen to her the way she's pronouncing it. When you listen, you might want to modify the spelling as it suits you. For her, Tahti did not need that capital A. But when I was listening to friends were saying, and I could tell that they were missing that half A. So one is big sound A, one is a small A sound. So it's very tricky, but you know what? I'm so impressed by the friends and little angels who are coming online. You guys are doing really wonderful job. So this is our dua, which we are supposed to say after our morning ibadat. That's the sunnah. Sunnah meaning the habits of Prophet Muhammad. He used to do that, and Imam Jafar Sadiq used to follow that tradition, and he also gave us farman to do the same, because we are seeking nur from all the directions. So subhanallah, subhanallah, very wonderful job. Alright, so let us start with our today's session. I have a very beautiful kalam for you all. So Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Ali Allah Madad Farma. This qasida is titled as Fire of Love. Noor-e-Ishq. We all are seekers of love of Mawla. And this qasida is titled as Fire of Love. Aao e naare-ishq mujhko rona hai. Zange gaflat se dil ko dhona hai. Come, O fire of love, I have to weep. I must remove the rust of negligence from my heart. Isme azam se meri kuch wafa na hui. Akhiran mahu ho ke usme khona hai. To the Isme Azam, my commitment has been poor. Ultimately, one has to efface and merge oneself in it. मुझ में क्यों आशिकाना गिरिया नहीं, मुझ में क्यों आशिकाना गिरिया नहीं, ये खता है, खता पे रोना है. Why do I not have tears of love? Why? This is a sin. And for that sin, I need to weep. जब क़यामत हुई है सर पे सवार, क्या तुम्हें इस घड़ी में सोना है? The resurrection looms overhead. Should you be asleep in such a moment? आशिकाने अली बराए अली, तुमको मिलकर मुझे रुलाना है. O Ali's lover, O Ali's lovers, for the sake of Ali, together you must make me weep. तेरा दिल बुत कदा हुआ है नसीर, आतिशे इश्क से इसको जलाना है. O Nasir, your heart has become an idol temple. You have to set it ablaze with the fire of love. So let's get all united in our heart and seek this fire of love in our heart. And find the reasons in our heart that why do we not have this fire in our heart? Why do we not love our Mawla, our Isma Azam so much so that we can shed tears of love for it? Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Wali Allah, madad farma. आओ ए नारे इश्क, मुझको रोना है. आओ ए नारे इश्क, मुझको रोना है. जंग गफलत से दिल को धोना है. आओ ए नारे इश्क, मुझको रोना है. इसमें आज़म से मेरी कुछ वफा न हुई. इसमें आज़म से मेरी कुछ वफा न हुई. आखिरन महू हो कि उसमें खोना है. आओ ए नारे इश्क, मुझको रोना है. मुझ में क्यों आशिकाना गिरिया नहीं. मुझ में क्यों आशिकाना गिरिया नहीं. ये खता है, इस खता पे रोना है. आओ ए नारे इश्क, मुझको रोना है. जब क़ियामत हुई है सर पे सवार. जब क़ियामत हुई है सर पे सवार. क्या तुम्हें इस घड़ी में सोना है. आओ ए नारे इश्क, मुझको रोना है. आशिकाने अली बराए अली. आशिकाने अली बराए अली. तुमको मिलकर मुझे रुलाना है. आओ ए नारे इश्क, मुझको रोना है. तेरा दिल बुत कदा हुआ है नसीर. तेरा दिल बुत कदा हुआ है नसीर. आतिश इश्क से इसको जलाना है. आओ ए नारे इश्क, मुझको रोना है. मुझ में क्यों आशिकाना गिरिया नहीं. मुझ में क्यों आशिकाना गिरिया नहीं. ये खता है, इस खता पे रोना है. आओ ए नारे इश्क, मुझको रोना है. अलहई 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 अलहई. Hasbunallah wa ni'mal wakil, wa ni'mal mawla wa ni'mal nasir. Hasbunallah wa ni'mal wakil, wa ni'mal mawla wa ni'mal nasir. Hasbunallah wa ni'mal wakil, wa ni'mal mawla wa ni'mal nasir. Hasbunallah wa ni'mal wakil, wa ni'mal mawla wa ni'mal nasir. Qaziul hajat namat, ya Ali mushkil kusha. 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 Ya Mawla, Ya Mawla, this Nachi's heart has become very rock-like, Mawla. Ya Mawla, we seek your mercy to be able to do Girya Uzari, Mawla, to shed tears of love, Mawla. Where is the love in our heart, Mawla? Let this dunya, the worldly thoughts, the worldly things get away from our heart so we can find the true love in our heart, Mawla. Ya Mawla Mehraban, Ya Mawla Mushkil Kusha, Madad Farma. The biggest mushkil, the biggest difficulty, Mawla, is that we are not falling in love with you, Mawla, the way we should be. Ya Mawla, help us, Mawla. We are learning this beautiful Dua-e-Noor, Mawla. Due to the barakat of Dua-e-Noor, Mawla, please give us Noor. Keep us in Noor from all our sides, all surroundings, all directions, Mawla. And ease our difficulty, which is to, Mawla, learn how to love you, Mawla. To love you as you ought to be loved, Mawla. Ya Mawla Mehraban, Madad Farma, Mushkil Kusha, Madad Farma. The worldly difficulties, Mawla, will go away, will be okay, and then they'll come back again. That never ends. The real difficulty is that we stay in love with you, Mawla. Help us, Mawla. Help us in this mushkil, Mawla. Ya Mawla, I seek your help, Mawla, to be able to do this session, Mawla, as I am not capable of doing anything, Mawla. It is only your mercy, your help, Ya Mawla, that this humble slave of yours, Mawla, is able to do anything, Mawla. Ya Mushkil Kusha, Madad Farma, Madad Farma, Madad Farma. Ameen. Ya Rabbal Alameen. Today we continue our study of book What is Soul? We are on chapter 3 and the session number is also 3. The first concept we are going to talk about, it's the question 47, which is what is celestial body? If you recall, we did talk about it few classes before, but we'll review some and we'll learn some new things too. Celestial body, all heavenly body. The proper term for celestial body is Jisme Falki, which is celestial body. Then there is another term, subtle body, Jisme Latif. Latif means transparent, subtle body. Then there is another term which is Jussai Ibdaya, Ibdai body, the original body, the miraculous body. So again, we are talking about celestial body, but when we talk of Jussai Ibdaya, it is a higher term, it's a higher body than simple celestial body. Jussaya Ibdaya is a body which becomes instantly when there is the command of kun. From the world of command, when there is kun, Jussai Ibdaya comes into existence. It's a greater, higher Jussa. Jussa means body. So it's a higher and a greater Jussa. When we study verse 16, when we study chapter 16, verse 81, Allah talks about in this verse that He has created shadows and mountains and shelters and garments to protect you from the heat, garments which protect you from battle. Thus does He complete His favor upon you that you might submit. So we do understand when Allah talks about creation of the universe, the mountains and all those things which we have. But very interestingly, He talks about this garment which protects us from heat, and this garment also protects us from battle. A battle where enemy attacks us. And if we recall the farman of Imam Sultan Muhammad Shah, Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad, Mawla talks about an umbrella and a raincoat in his farman to protect yourself from shaitan. In the same context, this Quranic verses, but here in this language of Quran, it talks about garment which will protect us from heat as well as the battle. Now, what kind of garment is that? The ta'wil of the word garment is actually celestial body. And Mawla has referred to this body as Nurani Badan. So remember, we have physical life, spiritual, which is Ruhani, and then there is Nurani. So Imam in his Farman has said that you can get to that world, but in your Nurani Badan. So we all are seeking this garment. When we elevate our ranks, we are elevating so much so that we do have this protective body, Nurani Badan. Whatever heat, whatever things shaitan throws on us, that heat will not burn us. Though we will be in battle with our enemy, but the enemy cannot harm us because we are in our Nurani Badan. So that's what Allah is talking about. That Allah has completed His favor upon you that you might submit. Why would Allah say that? That you might submit. Because if we never know what is this garment Allah is talking about, what is this Jussa Ibdaya, celestial body, subtle body, we don't understand that even in these celestial bodies, there are ranks. So celestial body is a different rank and Jussaya Ibdaya is the highest, the greater body. If we don't even understand, we will never seek it. When we'll never seek it, we would not even know what favors Allah has given to us. But what is the expectation? So you may submit. Submission is the condition, is the criteria. So what we are doing here in this book, What is Soul, we are learning that in the higher realm, when we talk of that realm, there are different types of bodies too. The way we have ranks, in every place there are ranks. And we all want to be fana with Imam. If Imam has the highest rank, so that means very easily, who has the Jussa Ibdaya? Surely Imam has it. If we are in Nurani Badan, celestial body, That means we can fly. We can fly and go higher. But the intention would be to continue to elevate ourselves so we can become one with Jussaye Ibdaya. Now, there's another understanding of celestial body. So, there's a question. How does our soul look in spirituality? If I were to want to see my own soul, what would be the shape and the form of it? Interestingly, at a lower level, the soul just looks like us. And what is the evidence? The evidence would be if we were to dream of our family members who have died and they come to our dream, of course, they don't have the physical body, it's their soul. And when we dream of that, and dream is the time when we can travel to that world because we are sleeping. Sleep is known to be the younger sister of death. When we die, our inner eyes will open up. Nothing will be hidden from us. During sleep, we are able to get to that realm depending on how we are checking our pulse, how we are submitting, meeting all the criterias, doing our zikro ibadat, ilmo amal with Giryawzari. So if we were to see dreams and we see those who have passed away, it is their soul we see. And they look like just the way we had seen them in the worldly life. So very interestingly, one understanding is that the soul looks like just the way we look like in physical world. But that's at a lower level. Now how do we understand lower level? So I took the example of this tree. When we look at the branches or we look at the leaves, they all look similar. There are so many uncountable numbers of small branches and the leaves, they all look same. But the roots, when you go down, it's big one root, trunk, the big one trunk. So the example of Imam is like a trunk. So we all come from the world of unity, world of oneness. We all were one in the ocean of the soul. But as we come to this world and we become all multiplied, the world of multiplicity, we have different forms, different shapes, different heights, different size, whatever we want to call, different color. We look all different. So at this level of our being, if we were to experience our own soul, see our own soul, we will look like just the way we look like right now. But if we were to continue to fly higher realms, continue to walk on the path of annihilating ourselves, merging ourselves, then there is only Imam. Then that's a different thing. At that time, the I, the intellect may be aware, conscious. But the shape, the form, it's just as it's smaller because we are in settled world. We don't exist physically. So I hope this helps us understand. Now there's a beautiful question about language. So every soul, what language do they speak? If it's the world of soul, how do they communicate? Again, at a lower level, our soul speaks in our mother tongue. And if we were to see Imam in our dream, and most probably if Imam were to talk to us, it will be in our mother tongue so we can understand. And how amazing is that we have heard of these miracles of Imam where he has spoken to people with different languages and Imam speaks in their language without any problems. When we look at Imam, we may not believe that, but Imam will speak any language. He can. He is Mazharul Ajaib, he is Imam, so he can speak in all languages. Our soul, when Mola talks to us in our soul level, he speaks in our mother tongue, so we can understand the communication. Then there's a question about fragrance. What is fragrance? Do our soul have any fragrance? So the fragrance is again very important concept in spirituality. And in reality, the food we eat in this world makes our body dense. And when we want to walk on the path of spirituality, we want to eat less and less and less. The reason is that we want to convert from density to subtlety. The food makes us heavy, it makes us dense, but we do need to eat to survive, so we do eat. But we have to decrease our love with food. What is the food for soul? Soul doesn't have any weight, doesn't take any space, so what does the soul eat? The fragrance is the food for the soul. Beautiful fragrances are the food for the soul. There is an interesting verse in Quran which talks about Hazrat Yusuf. Hazrat Yusuf, who was in Egypt, Misr, and his father, Hazrat Yaqub alayhi salam, was in Israel. And he was missing his son so much, who had become Imam. And in the love of Imam, he was crying, shedding tears, doing Girya Uzari. So much so that he loses his eyesight. And then when Yusuf's brothers do get to Egypt to meet him, Yusuf, knowing all the secrets, being the Imam and Mustawda, the prophet at that time, what he does, he sends his shirt. He tells his brother, take this shirt and give it to your father. At that time, the brothers did not know that the Yusuf was their brother, because they had lost him, they had left him in a well when he was very young. But Yusuf knew who they were. So Yusuf sends his own shirt for his father. And when these brothers are coming towards father, they are miles and miles away. And Yaqub starts saying, oh, Yusuf is coming, Yusuf is coming. I can smell him. He's coming, he's coming. And his wife is like, wait, Yusuf has gone years and years and years ago. How can he come now? He said, believe me, Yusuf is coming, because spiritually he could smell fragrance. When the brothers reach him, he said, did you bring Yusuf? Is Yusuf with you? Did you bring his news? They said, no, we have not brought Yusuf with us, but yes, there is a man we met, very kind man, and he has given his shirt as a gift. And as soon as he touches that shirt to his eyes, in spirituality, of course, Yaqub is able to sense that this is Yusuf's shirt and the fragrance is of Yusuf, and he was so thirsty, so desperate for the didar of Imam. The nur at that time was in Yusuf, and his eyes gets the sight. He was no more blind. So how did that happen? In the meaning, in the ta'wil, that he had lost his eyesight, but as soon as the nur reaches him in the form of fragrance, the eyesight comes back and he is able to see. So this is the example, one example which is given in the Quran, that how fragrance is the food for soul. Then there is another story and the questions related to Suleiman. Suleiman was the son of Dawood. Suleiman is known to be having the greatest kingdom, the biggest kingdom all over the world. He was a great king. He knew the language of birds and he ruled birds, jinns, humankind, beast. He was a great ruler, great kingdom. The question here is, which is asked in this book, that it says in Quran that he knew the languages of the birds. Does it mean physically he knew the languages of the birds, or is it spiritually we are talking about? Because it seems in Quran everything has Zahiri meaning and the Batni meaning. And even in Batni there are so many Batni meanings. So what is it? Did he in real life, could he understand the language of the birds? Very interestingly, wherever the nur is, if it's the time of Prophet or Imam, due to the divine mercy and the knowledge and the marifat these high exalted personalities have, they are able to understand all the languages, including the language of birds. They may show it or not. That's a different thing. In the story of Suleiman, it is said in Quran, that's how people think, Suleiman was the only one who knew how birds communicate. Because he used to rule in his darbar, in his court, there would be birds, there would be humans, there would be jinns. And he would rule them. He would converse with them. So people think that it is only Suleiman who could understand the language of the birds. But in reality, we know that whoever has the divine nur is able to understand the physical language of all those birds, or jinns, or all the beings. So yes, Suleiman knew the language of the birds. He could understand them. That the Imam and the prophets who had the nur, it's the divine nur which gave them the ability, the marifat, to understand what these birds were saying. In fact, not only birds, if you were to study it, all animate and inanimate, wherever, in fact, there's a Quranic verse 41/21 that Allah gives speech to everything. Everything, animate and inanimate objects, living and non-living, everything. Allah can give speech to everything. Now, when there is a Mu'min Salik, one of you, who meets all the conditions, who is doing what is expected to be done, zikro, ibadat, ilmo, amal with girya uzari, devotion, submission, all the criteria, if one of you were to meet, the question would be, can you understand those languages? So when we are trying to learn these concepts and we are applying to, because it's the application which helps us understand. Maula's mercy is such that when a Mu'min Salik elevates the rank, walks on the path of spirituality, enters into the realms of a spiritual life, and he or she merges themselves with Imam, when they get that nur, due to the mercy of the divine blessings, I would say, the marifat of everything is given to that blessed soul. So in other words, if one of you were to travel to that path and reach to that destination, would you be able to understand the languages of the birds? Surely you will be too. That's the mercy, that's the law of our Imam. Whoever will reach that destination will be blessed with all the miracles. Why? Because they become one with the Imam. So whatever Imam knows, all these secrets can become our secrets. So this is another important thing that we'll have to understand whenever we listen to these beautiful stories of Prophet and their miraculous abilities. Can we not get that? Allah's law is such that anyone who reaches at that level can get it. And we do have examples like that. And one of the biggest example is of Adam. Adam was a very poor man, very humble, simple man. Was a farmer, had not even had worldly education as per se. But in the path of spirituality, he was devoted, he worked very, very hard. And that is why he was chosen by Allah to be his Khalifa, his Janashim. And all angels were told to prostrate to him. Because there was no distance between the Imam and the Adam. They were one, with all the miracles in his being. So Sulaiman was the son of Dawood, and it says in chapter 27 verse 16 that Sulaiman inherited everything which Dawood had. And he said, O people, we have been taught the language of birds, and we have been given from all things. Indeed, this is evident bounty. Surely it is an evident bounty. So Sulaiman is telling people that Allah has taught all the languages of the birds, and he's given the knowledge of everything. And we do know, wherever there is Nur, there is all the miracles. There is no denying or there is no doubt about it. Before we review this verse, it also talks about the tawil of bird and fruit. So, what is fruit? In Quran, there are very many places fruit is being mentioned. Like in the story of Bibi Maryam, that she's sitting in her hujra, in her room, and Prophet Zechariah, he comes to her room and he sees that she has this fruit, winter fruits, in the time of summer, out of season fruit. And he says, Maryam, how are you getting this fruit which are not even in season? And she says, it is all blessing of my Lord. So fruit are mentioned in Quran. What does fruit means? So wherever fruit are mentioned, the indication, the allusion is given for the soul. In the spiritual world, there is no need of food. But wherever fruit is mentioned, that in paradise they will have this fruit and they'll be enjoying it, but there is no body. How can they be needing any physical fruit? There's no body there. So what is this fruit? Fruit means soul. So allusion is to soul. So those who are in paradise and now they're offered this different fruit, meaning that they have given this opportunity to eat those fruit, meaning elevate themselves to the higher ranking of soul. Remember when we had talked about Jannat, concept of Jannah and Dozakh, that even in Jannat there are ranks, and when they are offered food, that means that is an opportunity to elevate your ranks, become more exalted at the level of the soul. So fruit is also taken as knowledge and wisdom, which is actually contained in the soul. When we are elevating soul, meaning that we are learning that knowledge and wisdom. So Alhamdulillah, we are truly blessed to be learning this beautiful knowledge, wisdom, tawili knowledge during our physical lifetime. We don't even realize that this is the tawili dastarkhan, tawili table spread of Jesus, of all the prophets, of all the imam. And if we are able to eat it, meaning we understand it, we are elevating our soul so much. So Alhamdulillah, we do realize the blessing of Mawla. I had already mentioned this one, chapter 57 verse 21 talks about racing towards forgiveness from your Lord, and a garden whose width is like the width of heavens and earth, prepared for those who believed in Allah and His Messenger. That is the bounty which He gives whom He wills. And Allah is the possessor of great bounty. He has all these blessings and He gives it to who? Those who race towards Him. They seek forgiveness. In other words, what we are saying, that the soul has this rank and they have this opportunity to elevate their ranks. So when we were talking about, if one of you who is Mu'min Salik, meaning walking on this path, is able to elevate themselves because they have started to race, they got this understanding, they got this learning, and they have made this objective of their life, and now they're racing towards forgiveness through ilmu ibadat, zikru ibadat, ilmu amal with girya uzari. So what will happen to them? They will also witness all the miracles. They will also understand the language of the birds. They will have nothing hidden from them. All the secrets, miracles of Mazirul Ajaib will be given to that moment too. So we also will be able to observe and study many supernatural events. And during these experiences, we would be able to converse with all the souls, regardless of their living or their dead. We will be able to understand the speech of all the birds. In our soul, the power is there. What do we need to do? Aao e nare ishq mujhko rona hai. We have to have that love of that noor in our heart, that we are able to elevate ourselves to that extent. Nevin, should we continue or stop here?
We can stop here and see if there's more questions. We can take it and...
Okay, all right, we'll do that then. So let me end here and we'll continue with the Suleiman story, inshallah. So if friends have any questions, please do come forward. I see one question here. How many Adams before Prophet Adam? Very many Adam, countless. Because Adam meaning the cycles. And if we remember, I had talked about age of this world, numerical value, I can't even say those numbers. I had shown it to you. In other words, what I'm saying, that there are so many cycles, and each cycle, which is of 7,000, who is that Adam in each 7,000 years? Very good question. Was he a prophet? Surely. Adam was a prophet. Definitely he was the first prophet. Adam, according to the last Adam we had, about whom Pir Nasir Khusro talks about it, so that's what I refer to, that Adam was actually an ordinary man in Smiley Moment, but when he was given Isme Azam, he worked very hard on Isme Azam. He did honest ibadat and he met all the criteria. Zikr ibadat, ilmo amal with girya wazari. And he elevated him to that extent that not only he was a most pious Mu'min, he merged himself in Mawla, but Mawla chose him as his Janashim. So he was the first prophet in that cycle.
Yeah, I have a question.
Ji?
First, Yari Mother.
Yari Mother.
First of all, I'm trying to absorb everything that you said. It's just amazing.
Shukran.
And I have missed so many classes, like I didn't even know about them. So hopefully I will be able to get some recordings.
Sure.
However, just now when you said, so many Adams and the last Adam that Nasir Khusro talks about, and you mentioned he was an Ismaili Momin. So, but at that time, we were not all Ismailis, right?
Mm-hmm. So that's your question, isn't it? Did I get
it?
Yes,
yeah. I mean, I'm sure you understand more what I'm trying to ask.
Yes, I do. Shukran Mola. So, yes, the word Ismaili started from Imam Ismail when there was a Musa Kazim and Ismail, and then those who followed Ismail and were called Ismaili. But when I say Ismaili, what it means, Ismailis are the ones who follow Imam. And Imams have been here always. Without Imam, this world would not last for a second. And I hope that we now understand, those who have been attending classes, they understand it very well, that saying that Imams were in Batin does not mean that Imam did not exist. Imams have always been here. Without Imam, there will be no life on this planet. This planet would not exist. We do know that in the light of Prophet Muhammad Hadith, in the light of Farman of Sultan Muhammad Shah, that if Imam were to be not present for a second, this world would not last. Having said that, Imam during the time of Adam, and Pir Nasir Khusro gives us the name of that Imam too. The name of the Imam was Maulana Hunayd. At that time, Imam have always been there. When he was given Isme Azam by the Imam, at that time they may not call themselves Ismailis, but they were followers of the Imam. So today, in our understanding, if we were to follow anyone who follows Imam, we are Ismailis. So for our understanding, I'm trying to refer to terms which makes it easier for us. So he was a follower of Imam. Imam at that time, actually Imam Mukim was Imam Hunayd and Imam Shis was Imam Asas. So Imam Hunayd was the one who gave the Isme Azam to Adam. So yes, in other words, he was Ismaili. He was the follower of Imam.
Mimi Saiba.
Ji, Shabnam.
Shabnam here. I didn't understand one question. You say that Mariam was eating fruits, and been asked that where you get these fruits. So he says, my Lord is given to me. So, but then you say the fruit is not a fruit, it's a soul as well. So I didn't understand that question.
Good question. Good question. So one thing which I referred, what does soul mean in this context? It means knowledge and wisdom. So she had very high level of knowledge and wisdom. She knew the ta'wil. When he saw her knowing more, he was surprised that how come you have this fruit which are out of season, meaning you are not there yet, you are so young. You are not supposed to have this knowledge. How come you know these things? And she says, it's been given to me from my Lord. It is the blessing of my Lord.
Oh, thank you. I thought it was fruit, so I got. Thank you very much. Yeah, remember.
So I see one question here. Do all souls who have left this physical body and gone to the spiritual world have access to all these fruits we talk about? So those souls who are in spiritual world, depending on their ranks, they are given the knowledge and the wisdom depending on what they have done in this life. Because remember, this is the life where we save our earning, we collect and we go there with our earnings. Depending on our earnings, we get that level of knowledge and wisdom. शुक्र अल्लाह. जी नवीन, कोई क्वेश्चन है?
It's not related, but one other person is asking any tips for achieving constant remembrance.
So I would request you, Naveen, can you share the course on the pulse checking? That would help her. I mean, there are lectures about zikr for 23 hours. I think she will benefit from that. We already have lectures, so you can share with her. Thank you for asking that question. Any other question? The life of this earth. Imam Muhammad Baqir alayhi salam was asked what is the life of this earth, and I refer to that because there is a reason of it. I'm repeating myself actually. If we were to know the numbers of cycles, so each 7,000 cycle, we do know that there are 6 days. One day is equal to one cycle of 1,000 years, and seventh day the Lord comes himself and sits on the throne. First prophet is always Adam in 7,000 cycle, 7,000 years. So the life of the earth is so long that I personally cannot even say that numerical value. How can I even tell you how many Adams have come? It is beyond my abilities, forgive me. And Maula Ali was asked how many Adams have come, and there are different numbers he gives, 70,000 or 700,000. It is not very clearly given to us when we are at the beginning of the journey of this true knowledge. If we were to elevate ourselves, we may be able to find out the answer, because all the answers, all the secrets of Imams are actually for Mu'minin. But Mawla gives it to those who really show that they are worthy of those secrets or miracles. I just want to give you some food for thought. Do not be stuck at 50,000. So 50,000 it's a number for you and I. We are able to say it, 50,000. If the life, the age of this world is in a numerical, which I can't even say because it's so many billion and billions that I can't even say it, can't even read it. So imagine if that number is given to us by Imam, then 50,000 is very manageable. We can think about it. 50,000, we can comprehend it. But let's make it 100,000 or 100,000 and beyond that and beyond that and beyond that and beyond that. We will not be able to comprehend. If the life of the earth is that long, I would not be personally, humbly, be satisfied by 50,000 years. Yes, 50,000 years have been mentioned in Quran and even by Sultan Muhammad Shah in different contexts. So you are right about 50,000 years, but that's not the answer you are seeking. There is more to learn. Any other question? If not, then I'll take your leave and I'll see you inshallah tomorrow. With Maula's mercy, we'll talk about Ramzan, Roza and its understanding. I seek your prayers, friends. Yali Madad, Yali Madad.
Yali Madad.
Yali Madad. Yali Madad. Yali Madad. Yali Madad.